Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sackdown Slam for your Smackdown Live September 12th results. I will say this show, it was good. I just felt that the order of the matches seemed off. Like they had the three title matches at the top of the show and then had a lot of segments and other matches at the bottom of the show. Now that seems like it was kind of weird and it could have culminated in a bigger ending had the last three matches been those title matches. Um I also felt that it was good that Sami Zayn, excuse me. It was good that, excuse me, it was a good thing that Bobby Roode was not there tonight. I think that Bobby Roode not being there for 2 weeks now was a good thing because they can use him next week to raise the ratings. It was good that Shinsuke Nakamura wasn't there. They talked about him, which I'll get to in a minute, but he was not there. So they did not need him to boost ratings in Las Vegas, which I thought that he was going to come out at one point, but it didn't happen. To all the people that are starting to chant Maharaja, yeah, shut up already. Jinder Mahal sucks. End of discussion. And why you're sitting there feeding the WWE corporate machine? No, 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 no. Because then you're just giving them an excuse to leave him as the champion until WrestleMania, as per what I've heard. And nobody wants that. That would be a garbage situation. Dumpster fire. So do not feed into this crap that he is a good champion. Admittedly, the promo he cut tonight was much better than anything he's done in the past, but his wrestling skills are the problem. And Dolph Ziggler coming out and talking about fancy entrances and actual versus actual in-ring skill. My fucking goodness. This is exactly what I am talking about with people like Jinder Mahal. You can dress them up in fancy clothes. You can dress them up and make them look all pretty, but that doesn't mean that they have actual in-ring skill, which you've noticed he hasn't dissed Nakamura, but you definitely know that all the people he's throwing a diss at, like tonight, he sat there and got all hot and bothered about Bailey. Now, Bailey does have in ring skill, especially if you've seen her NXT work, but man, yeah, I think it's time for Bailey to find a new gimmick because the inflatable Bailey buddy thing, that's so nah. It's time to cut your losses with that and maybe repackage her as something else. Then you add Dolph Ziggler coming out at the beginning as Shane McMahon, which I honestly thought it was going to be Shane McMahon and then throw a swerve at us, but yeah, it's a very, I don't know what they're gonna do with Dolph at this point. Honestly, I don't. I've heard that his contract expires in October. What they're going to do with him becomes at that point, I don't know. Maybe this is his send off to just diss on the WWE. I don't know. I mean, maybe this is CM Punk situation and we don't even see it. Um, I guess we'll find out when we find out. But with everything notwithstanding, tonight's show was definitely a good show. I was just disappointed all the title matches were all at the beginning, and Carmella did not cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase, which it would have made perfect sense to do so. It's Vegas, cash in, and Natalia as your women's champion right now. Um, I guess, you know, she does need to build more character and cut some promos that are not about crazy cat shit, but her in-ring skill is definitely up there with most of the women on either Raw or SmackDown. So I don't really have a problem with her there, but she needs some time on the mic and she needs more matches and she needs legit competition because it felt like that match tonight was very meh. It also felt like Ty Dillinger. You're cutting to a commercial right in the middle of Ty Dillinger's match with AJ Styles. I mean, yeah, you had the doohickey on the upper left hand side that was still showing the match during the commercials, which, wow, NFL's actually copying WWE. That's a first. But I'll be honest, this sort of upset me a little bit because this was Ty Dillinger's time to shine, and they threw a lot of wrenches into that, and so I'll get to that as well. So we start off the show in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we get a recap video package of the bad blood between Shane and Kevin Owens. Owens walked down to the ring to open the show. He did not have that Face of America thing, by the way. It was his OG opening with the red and black kind of streaming into itself. Um, Owens walked down to the ring to open the show. He cut a promo in the ring about how he wouldn't fight McMahon last week because he respects authority, which is why he is suing WWE. Owens demanded that Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips wear the same suit each week because they are one person because they sound the same. Yeah, when he originally came out, boy, he said a lot of things. He said he would cancel the Fashion Files segment, which got a lot of fans booing. The whole thing about Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips sounding the same, I'm like, right on point, bro. And then he talked about getting rid of Sami Zayn, and then all of a sudden here comes the money starts playing, which is when Ziggler came out, and he thanked Ziggler for helping him out, and then sent him back to the back. Then Daniel Bryan was the next person out and hyped that Vince would be showing up very soon. Bryan said that Owens won't like what Vince has to say, and Owens can't wait to see Vince, and Vince won't like what he has. Owens can't wait to see Vince, and Vince won't like what he has to say. Owens booked it out of the ring to end the segment. Commercial break. Then we got the U.S. Championship between AJ Styles and Ty Dillinger. So they lock up, and Dillinger is sent him into the ring post and to send us back to the break. Literally, they start the match and go to a commercial break. What the fuck? I understand this is a 2-hour show, but during a title match that is featuring someone as prominent as Ty Dillinger is in your crowd, which you still hear 10 chants to this day, just like you hear 2 sweet and all that other crap that people try to hijack shows with. I'm going to be honest, this match did not get the time it deserved on air. Anyway, we're back from the break with AJ Styles fighting back and knocking Dillinger down. Dillinger avoided a kick, but Styles caught him with a clothesline. Styles with a forearm shot and then went to his finisher, but Baron Corbin ran out and got on the apron. That's another problem. Baron Corbin should never have been featured in this match. If you wanted Corbin so badly to make a statement, he should have come out after the match and let this be man to man Dillinger versus Styles. This particular match was a failure in my book. Anyway, Styles took him out. Dillinger went for the tiebreaker, but Styles blocked it. Dillinger went for it again and hit the tiebreaker for a 2 count, which is basically the best that Dillinger looked in this match. Styles locked, and then Styles turned it around, locked in the calf crusher for the win. So Styles won and was still champion. Post-match, Corbin attacks Styles and hits the end of days, which was on the entrance ramp, which had to hurt. Corbin grabbed the microphone and told Styles that he would be his next opponent next week for the US Open Challenge. So, this I'm okay with. Post-match crap I'm okay with. During the match, not cool. You know, guys like Ty Dillinger deserve to thrive. That's what this whole US Open Challenge thing is. You're not going to gift it to somebody, obviously, but it's about letting younger talent showcase themselves against a big person and then finding the right guy that fits, like, you know, John Cena and Kevin Owens. Look at what this did for Kevin Owens. So look what it continued to do for Kevin Owens. In my opinion, you know, they kind of screwed over Ty Dillinger just a little bit. But that's really my biggest beef with the 3 title matches tonight. Anyway, Rusev was interviewed backstage about losing to Randy Orton, blah, blah, in 10 seconds, blah, blah, blah. His family, when he went back home to Bulgaria, his family didn't see him as a success. They saw him as a failure, and he vowed to break a legend. Sounds like a Hell in a Cell. We're going to get another Rusev Orton match. Gag me already. I don't want to see that again. You know, it's like, obviously they don't have anything for Orton to do. They don't have anything for Rusev to do. So they're just going to throw the two of them together for no other apparent reason. I don't know about you, but I'm not okay with this. I mean, it seems like a stupid move, personally, but that's just me, and this just seems like lazy booking. Like, you are literally booking these guys into a corner. You can't get a decent match out of them. Anyway, Jinder Mahal cut a promo. Anyway, there's a commercial break, and then Jinder Mahal cut a promo in the ring with the Singh brothers, saying that his preparation will not only be physical but mental. Mahal showed photos of Nakamura and mocked him by saying that he looks like he needed to go to the bathroom, or okay, first of all, he said that he didn't look like he had inspiration. It looked like he had constipation. So it looked like something like it looked like he was the artist of taking a dump. And then he called him something like Pikachu having a seizure, with him doing a thing, which, okay, on point there. And definitely, you can take any wrestler and say they look constipated. But yeah, it's a bigger scope of a promo than we've seen from Jinder. I mean, do I want him as my champion? No, not at all. And for all of you idiots in Vegas screaming Maharaja, um, how much did you have to drink before the show or before this point? Because y'all were drunk in Vegas tonight, I'll tell you that much right now. So, I mean, to be trying to cheer Jinder Mahal, you drunk, okay? No, we do not need this Artard as our champion. Okay? No. No, 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 no. Screw that fool. Anyway, okay. We see Owens talking with Sami Zayn backstage. Owens brought up a story about them driving in a snowstorm, about a promise to get to WWE and never have to drive through another snowstorm again, because they were performing at like army bases and this and that, and little small time indie stuff. And Owen said that he's about to own the WWE and Zayn is about to be out of a job. Zayn said that he would rather go and wrestle in another armory than work for Owens. Commercial break. Then we have the Smackdown Tag Team title match. It was a street fight. Usos versus New Day. I'm gonna say this was easily the best match of the night. Easily. I mean, every time you put New Day and the Usos together, it's a big thing. But I have to be perfectly honest. I do not want to see these two teams face each other at Hell in a Cell. I don't. This has been just constant booking of title match after title match after title match, like one after another. It's very just repetitious. I feel like there's nothing left for these two teams to prove to each other. They are the best right now, probably as far as tag team goes, in the WWE. Period. I honestly think it's time for these two teams to move on and hashtag give the Fashion Police a chance. I want to see them back in ring, so we can finally see them as a champ. Also, I like the Usos as heels. I think they could have some great matches with Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. Give those two a run for their money. And then, after that, whoever's left standing between the Fashion Police and the New Day, when people win the titles, then you have, you know, Chad Gable, and maybe you turn the Fashion Police heel when they face the New Day. That would be a new direction for them to dive into instead of supporting pop culture, maybe disrespecting it in one term or another. I think that's technically Ziggler's shtick right now, but I'm sure there's a different way that you could have the Fashion Police do so. I just feel like they're not going to get pushed unless they bring something new to the table. So, you know, I hope that this is the end of their feud. Anyway, they start brawling and begin the match. The New Day set up a table on the floor. Jimmy hit a backdrop to Kingston to the floor. Then they cut to yet another commercial break right at the start of a match. And this time there wasn't even a logo in the corner to freaking look at or enlarge on my television and ignore the commercial. I mean, enough with these commercial breaks during the matches. Y'all are killing me, you know? Take a commercial break during a promo so I don't have to hear some idiot talk for 10 minutes. Anyway, commercial break. Then you come back. We're back with the Usos in control of the New Day. They hit Big E in the back with a kendo stick. Oh, yeah. By the way, they hit Big E really hard, too. You can hear the crack back on that. Hit him several times. Kingston fought back by hitting the Usos with the kendo stick over and over and over again. Kingston sent Jay to the floor. Then Jimmy missed a splash in the corner with a chair. Kofi Kingston hit a double foot stomp with the chair to Jimmy for a 2. Kingston threw a chair at Jay. Kingston went up top and hit an outside dive, but the Usos caught him and sent him over the barricade, which looked incredibly fucking painful, by the way. It was just no bueno on that one. Uh, Big E hit a belly-to-belly suplex to Jimmy, then smashed Jay's face into the announce table. Big E with a big power slam to the Usos. And he hit both because he lined them up both side by side and then did his little thing where he went from one rope to another and then just did a splash onto both Jimmy and Jay. Let's see. Big E clotheslines Jay onto the floor, and Jimmy rolled up Big E for a 2. Big E kicked out, and then Big E hit the big ending to Jimmy, but Jay broke up the pin attempt. Jay with the super kick. Then the Usos hit a double super kick to him. The Usos went to the top rope, but Kingston kicked Jay off the top rope through the table because he came from behind, kicked him off the top, and he went through the table. Kingston with a kick to Jimmy, and they hit their tag team finisher for the win. And your new tag team champions, the New Day. Then they went to a commercial. Then their next match was the women's title match, which I'm thinking, wow, that's 3 title matches in a row. You're going to have an awful lot of airtime left. Well, I mean, why not, per se, have your women's title match last and then have Carmella cash in and make it a big thing? But whatever. Money in the Bank winner Carmella joined the broadcast team and has James Ellsworth on a leash. Bell sounds and 2 women immediately. And that's another thing. James Ellsworth had a freaking dog collar on him, and he was not allowed to talk. I mean, every time he tried to talk, she would yank the collar. I mean, it was so funny. James Ellsworth exactly in the place where he deserves to be. Anyway, bell sounds and the 2 women immediately start jockeying for position. Natalya gets the upper hand early. Naomi catches a kick from Natalya and then delivers a cavalcade of kicks. That's your, little jazzercise kicks that she does. The ballerina kicks per se that she does even better than Lana when she was a wrestler, which lasted all of a few matches probably the only wrestler I know of that, got 3 title matches in a short period of 5 matches. Anyway, Natalya gets the upper hand early. Naomi catches a kick from Natalya and then delivers a cavalcade kick. Excuse me. Natalya ends up on her knees and Naomi slides in a slap and slaps her in the face. Natalya grabs Naomi and throws her hand into the corner. Then we go to a commercial break. Back again, and Naomi kicks Natalya in the back as she sits her on the top rope. Naomi excuse me, it was on the second rope, not the top rope. Naomi goes to the apron and slingshots herself into a leg drop on Natalya. By the way, that's another move that Naomi's been experimenting with, making it look a lot better than Sasha's double knees, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, she pins and gets 2 count. Naomi goes for her split leg moonsault, but Natalya moves, thus Naomi misses. Natalya goes for a sharpshooter, but Naomi pushes her out of the ring. Natalya comes face to face with Carmella, but then Naomi comes flying off with a crossbody off the top rope on top of Natalya, which, by the way, golf clap to freaking Naomi for getting that one off, because I think she almost took out Carmella too. Natalya moves on Carmella and Ellsworth take the blow from that flying crossbody. Natalya grabs Naomi and throws her into the ring post, and then throws her back into the ring, and Natalya locks up a sharpshooter, then drags her into the middle of the ring, and then forces Natalya to tap out. So Natalya is still your champ. So, what does this mean for Hell in a Cell? I don't know. I don't know who challenges her next. My thought process here was that since this was in Vegas, that she would cash in her briefcase and use her contract to get her title match win, and that would set up her match at Money in the Bank. At this point, I don't know who on the Smackdown roster would even deserve a title shot. I mean, Asuka's going to Raw. We know that for a fact, so it wouldn't be her. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, Charlotte? I mean, maybe they're planning on bringing her back because they've got a few weeks, but that would be a very, very short range for a feud. I mean, if you're going to give the New Day umpteen gajillion title shots against the Usos, I mean, seeing as how shitty your women's division is on SmackDown, I would hope that you would give someone like Naomi that is showing progressing talent a title shot. I mean, obviously, Carmella's got the money in the briefcase, and her talent has been slowly evolving, but I will admit it is evolving. Thus, I think that glass ceiling on her is beginning to rise. I think that we need to see more of her in ring instead of at ringside, which, you can't deny that. I mean, other than those 3, you have Tamina, which, whatever. You have Charlotte, who is obviously always going to be a contender. And then I don't even remember. I mean, Lana's not even technically a wrestler anymore. So, save for anyone that they pull up from NXT, I don't know. This women's division needs help. It truly, truly does. I mean, they really raw plucked up the best talent. or one of the best pieces of talent from SmackDown, and they thought they were going to replace Alexa Bliss with Lana. I'm sorry, that's just funny in my opinion. You can't replace the Bliss, okay? Because that's just not going to happen. That's like saying you can replace Charlotte on Raw, which, Raw could take that kind of a hit because they have all the big names. The SmackDown does not has maybe one or two big names. I would give Natalia enough respect for that, and I would give Charlotte obviously the respect for that. But Naomi is evolving. I would say she's in the top three, and then Carmella is working her way up the ladder, but they even plucked Mickey James from SmackDown, which made 0 sense. I mean, I guess you do have Becky Lynch, which is another person that could challenge. I mean, I swear if they do another fatal 5-way for who's going to be the women's contender, I'm going to hurl. But yeah, or 6-pack challenge, holla holla. I mean, please, let's not go down that route again. Let's say everybody else moves to the back of the line unless you're holding a briefcase, for the money in the bank. But bottom line, I think it's time for Naomi to take a back seat to Becky or Charlotte. Anyway, after that, we have a commercial break. Dolph Ziggler cuts a promo about how fans want an elaborate entrance, so he comes out dressed as Bayley. Ziggler says that at some point the superstar actually has to compete. He said that a star who can't hold a candle to him in the ring, who was idolized by the fans. Ziggler comes out as the Ultimate Warrior. He was upset that the fans thought this is what they believe is a star. He said that he couldn't care less about the fans. Okay, I'm gonna give my honest opinion on this segment. I'm cool with the Bailey thing because there's a lot of truth in that. But Dana Warrior was in the audience. The whole thing with Ultimate Warrior, that was very low class on WWE's part. I don't give a shit who wrote this. If Road Dogg wrote this and thought it was funny, ha ha ha. No, that's not funny to mock your dead husband, in front of their wife. You know, fuck you, Road Dogg, because that's an asshole move. I mean, she was there because he knew, or obviously knew by the time she got there, that she would be there for the Mae Young Classic final, which, FYI, I will try at some point this week to get a show about all that up. Um, I'm gonna be fairly busy this week. Got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and I'm gonna be visiting SPW again on Sunday. So I got a lot going on. But I will try to watch and get those up sometime during this week. I got NXT tomorrow, and so hopefully Thursday or Friday. But yeah, just getting back to that Ultimate Warrior thing. Low class, very low class. I really, really think that could have been done much, much better. So, anyway, next thing that we got here. Next thing is that so Aiden English is backstage, and Owens approaches him and tells English not to stop on his account because he was singing backstage, and and that he'd be interested in doing a theme for the new Kevin Owens show. Now, The funny part about this is I'm getting a feeling that the whole Survivor Series picture is beginning to turn itself up. Like Zayn is going to be on team uh, Shane, and Aiden English is going to be on team Owens, obviously. And we'll find out, throughout the weeks to come who's going to be a part of it, who's not. But it feels like this is an actually long planned storyline. So keep it coming. Anyway, commercial break. Then we had the Hype Bros versus Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. So the bell sounds, and Gable takes control of Mojo Riley and then tags in Benjamin. Benjamin comes in and grabs an arm lock, but then Mojo starts fighting back. Mojo catches Benjamin's kick, and then Benjamin hits him with a spin kick. Mojo makes some space and tags in Zack Ryder. Ryder hits a missile drop kick on Benjamin. As Ryder runs at Benjamin, Benjamin hits him with a spine buster. Benjamin hits Ryder with a power bomb into a power bomb position, and Gable tags in and contributes to a team maneuver, bringing Ryder and slamming him down hard on the canvas. Gable pins and gets the 3 count. This maneuver, like, think of somebody picking up someone for a power bomb, and then right before they slam them on the ground, the guy at the top rope, which he had Shelton Benjamin picking him up in power bomb position. Then Gable gets on the top rope, and then Gable comes down on him doing a leg drop while Benjamin drops the power bomb. So ouchie. That it looked like it was painful. Anyway, after the match, Ryder looks at Mojo unhappily and storms off after Mojo shakes Gable and Benjamin's hands. Gable and Benjamin kind of shrug at him, and it looks like there's some tension in the Hype Bros now. Commercial break. And this is the big one. So there was definitely a commercial break. I'm trying to get this stupid thing to disappear, but apparently that is not possible. Okay, so commercial break. And so Owens is in the ring awaiting the arrival of Mr. McMahon, who walks out to the ring. Owens was in amazement to be in the ring with him and said that Vince is intimidated. Vince denied that and recapped last week's brawl between Owens and Shane. Vince said that Owens didn't fight back last week because Shane was beating his ass. Yeah, he definitely was trying to pull those Vince McMahon type strings. Vince doesn't know how Owens has any respect for himself and mocked him for wanting to sue the WWE. Vince said that if Owens filed the lawsuit, he would fire Kevin Owens. He was like, "You're fired the moment you file that lawsuit." McMahon also stated that he is a billionaire and that he would drag the lawsuit until Owens was bankrupt. And there's one asterisk I need to add for those that do not know. Vince during this segment said that he had never lost a lawsuit. Bullshit! That's why your company is the WWE and not the WWF, because the World Wildlife Fund came after you and forced you to change your name. So, yeah, you're not fooling those of us that grew up in the Attitude Era. Just saying. Now, McMahon said that he's a billionaire, that he would drag the lawsuit out until Owens was bankrupt. Vince McMahon threatened Owens to actually go through with the lawsuit. Vince said that he suspended Shane for not finishing the job he started last week on Owens. Vince wanted Shane to beat Owens down even more. Vince said that he would reinstate Shane because there is going to be a match. Vince booked Shane versus Owens inside Hell in the Cell at the upcoming pay-per-view. Okay. Number one, not liking that booking decision. I mean, you could have had a match between these two that didn't involve Hell in a Cell. But whatever. I mean, if Shane wants his 15 minutes of fame jumping off that cell again, which we know we're gonna see, it's ridiculous. But he is kind of having that spot monkey addiction. So, because just it feels that way. It truly does. Like he's trying to be the good guy, the boss, but most authority figures do not get involved in matches. And this spot monkey addiction is going to be the end of Shane McMahon if he keeps jumping off of cells onto other wrestlers. Just saying. Anyway, Owens agreed to it and then they shook hands. Now, at this point, he had asked Vince McMahon if they had a deal, and he said only if that means that any damage or that any time I threaten or attack a McMahon, that I can't get sued for it. And Vince was like, fine, agreed. And they shook hands, and then he started beating the shit out of Vince McMahon. And, well, first he headbutted him, and it busted him open pretty bad. And let's see how much it actually says here. And he started bleeding from the forehead, and then Owens punched him again. Referees came down to the ring and checked on McMahon. Owens then super kicked Vince. Owens went to the top rope, but an agent ran down and tried to stop him. But Owens hit a splash from the top rope onto Vince McMahon. Anyway, Stephanie, so this is the first time we've seen Gag Me since WrestleMania, and walked out and told Owens to go to the back, and we go off the air with Stephanie helping her dad to the back. Okay. Number one. I don't know what this means for Stephanie, if this is going to be a swerve, like, oh, Stephanie's helping out Kevin Owens, and it's going to be a battle for who gets control of SmackDown, blah, 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 blah. If that is the case, go Team Shane. Please don't let your sister, that's the last thing that any of us fans want, is Stephanie running that show. Number two, I honestly do hope that Vince is okay, because he refused to go on the gurney He could have just as easily gone on the hospital gurney that they had out there for him, but he wanted to walk to the back, and he was complaining about his ribs, and he was bleeding out the top of his forehead. I mean, uh, Kevin Owens did a pretty big number on it, and this feud is probably one of the most believable feuds right now in WWE. I wish that WWE would put this much effort into all their feuds, because then they would be meaningful. But the next thing to this is probably the Universal title scene, because that just got very interesting after Monday Night Raw. And then, the US title scene is looking decent, but you don't really have a pronounced champ. So I feel like if this sort of effort were put into all the feuds, then you wouldn't have problems with your feuds. They would all just feel organic and natural. So I like where this is going. I don't have a problem with this, but you have the organic growth now. It's there. Now you just need to make sure that the tree doesn't die. And, because obviously this is going to go through Hell in a Cell. And so Shane's spot monkey addiction needs to not get him in trouble if he's going to fight Kevin Owens at Survivor Series. So, he needs to stay healthy. Kevin Owens needs to stay healthy. And whomever else is going to be on, either side needs to stay healthy. So, overall, they did not do what I thought would be best for the US title tonight, which is highly disappointing. It made zero sense that they allowed the three title matches to be the first three spotted matches, and that they put so many commercial breaks through them. And that, yeah, I just felt like this show would have been better if it had had less commercial breaks. I feel like WWE's getting so desperate for cash that they're not as good off as they claim to be. But I just want to make the assumption right now that maybe because this was booked pretty solidly. I mean, and that's without Nakamura or Bobby Roode. So that's some major players that were not on tonight's SmackDown, and this proves tonight that you can book a great SmackDown without having to use every piece every week. You don't need to do that. You could obviously you're going to need to focus on the women's title situation next week. You've got Baron Corbin and AJ Styles, which I hope that I hope that what this turns into is a triple threat Hell in a Cell between those three, and that Ty Dillinger walks away with the U.S. Championship at Hell in a Cell. That's what I want, because Ty deserves a palatable reason or a palatable championship, because he's worked his ass off. I do not care how you do it or whom he beats. AJ is sort of holding that U.S. title in purgatory, because obviously WWE doesn't want him to be the champion. But if he doesn't have the U.S. title, then what's he going to do? He's going to go after the WWE. And you ask the fans who they would rather be the champ, the Maharaja, or the guy, who on SmackDown is a part of the house that AJ Styles built, I don't think there's any question there. So there's some interesting questions I think to be answered on next week's show as far as where they're going with what titles, and what's going to happen to the women, what's going to happen to the US, what's going to happen to the tag team division. Because I swear if they do another New Day Usos, I'm going to put my foot through my television. Like, delete, please. No more New Day Usos. I love Usos. I like the New Day. I don't dislike them. I just feel like those two being paired together, it's just old. I also think their New Day did not need a fourth title reign. I mean, for God's sakes, they're already the longest reigning tag team champs in WWE history. They're the first tag team champs to be Raw and SmackDown tag team champs. And you're telling me you're going to add a third and fourth title reign on friggin' top of it? No. Delete. Please. I mean, I've had enough of New Day. I mean, they're great. I like their style, but championships are meant to be spread out. They are not meant to let one rise and bury everyone else. It's like New Day is the John Cena of tag teams right now because they just bury everybody. It makes me ill. I'm beginning to hate them because of that, because that's what they're doing. They're burying the entire tag team division on SmackDown ever since they got sent there. It just, I like them. They can wrestle well. They've got a good gimmick, but that doesn't mean they always need a title. They can be featured. They can win matches and earn being the key word there, a title shot. But I feel like they've been gifted enough shots. Usos have been gifted enough shots. I think it's time to, split them apart for a while. Let new blood into that division, you know? Because it's time for either, Benjamin and Gable to get a shot. The Fashion Police should be first on that list, regardless of if you like them or not. I mean, I don't know what they're doing with the Hype Bros. It looks to me like they're trying to separate them. That did not work out so well for Mojo the last time. I also think that if you want a division, you need tag teams. And I'm sorry, but I would much rather have the Hype Bros than Connor and Victor. I mean, I hate to say it, but the Ascension suck. So, I mean, breaking up the Hype Bros, what does that really do for anybody? I mean, A, there's no intercontinental title for Ryder to go after. And B, what did Mojo really do for your division to begin with? He was not a great singles competitor. He got nada for reaction. So why bother? Anyway, lot of unanswered questions from tonight's SmackDown. I'm sure that next week we'll find out more. But for now, I'm Gary Maloney for Sacktown Slam, and I am signing off.